Welcome to A Mason's Work, the podcast where we review Masonic symbols and illustrate how they can be used to solve problems in everyday life. With your host, Brian Mattox, a proud member of the Craftsman Online Media Network.
Every plan you will ever make is made by the person you are in the present moment, for a version of yourself that does not yet exist, in conditions that have not yet arrived. That sounds, for a lot of folks, pretty terrifying, because it feels like you have nothing to grab onto. And this is where you look up. Like, look to astronomy. Look to concepts like geometry. Look to the liberal arts, because they have a lot of value in helping you understand how the world works by looking up in the sky and understanding the procession of the various, celestial objects and how the sun and the moon control the interactions between, everyday life. You have this capacity to start to understand the way the world operates. And when you are able to understand the way the world operates, you are better enabled to create plans that survive contact with reality. You might create these plans that essentially are built in isolation from this world, and then be really upset when you can't execute. Things like, you might set up an aggressive workout schedule and then never, ever be able to achieve that schedule because you're not nutritionally prepared. You're not meeting all of the requirements. You're not going to even know what those requirements are without study. The reason we study these things is to give us a better insight into the natural order of things. Now, for a lot of people, myself when I was a younger man, I can attest to this. I wanted to fight the natural order of things. I was full of fight. I was full of the way the world works is stupid. That doesn't help you make good plans, for lack of a better way to say it. That is a horrible way to get what you want in the world. The folks that are most successful understand that, you can't make it rain upside down. And there's a guy right now listening to this podcast. It may be a little voice in your head that says, I could probably make it rain upside down. But you can't deal with some of these realities. And if you understand that you can work with them instead of against them, you can actually make progress in this life. So we move through this understanding of the way the world works from a celestial perspective, and you bring that down into the present moment, and you end up with sort of conventional wisdom, things like make hay while the sun shines. I don't know if you've heard that before in your everyday life. Make hay when the sun shines means you have to dry hay out in the sun. You can't make hay overnight or when it's raining. When you look at some of these practical bits of wisdom you've experienced in your everyday life, they all come from essentially this bottled understanding of the way the world works that's kind of distilled down into a single sentence. And we bring that into the planning process. We bring that into our architecture, our architectural design process for the life we want to create. We use things like the cable tow to determine what our capacities might be. We use the premortem process to understand what it's going to look like if the plan's going to fail. We take our on and off ramp processes that were talked about this week, and we use them to help build a plan that will survive contact with the world and give us the means to get off, to abandon that plan when it's appropriate in a way that doesn't come with the emotional sort of weight of the idea of failure. Because that's not productive and it doesn't help. So when we start looking at these things and start doing this, what we're actually able to do in this situation is almost create kind of a video game style of gameplay, right? We're able to fail and it's okay. We're able to succeed and that's also okay. We're able to plan in the present moment and change those plans as time permits as situations permit. And the review cycle running beneath everything lets us essentially manage the whole apparatus. This is what Freemasonry can do. This kind of symbolic language that you have can be used to help you on every single day you have in that day zero capacity. It's the only time the only day you ever really have. You're creating plans right now for your future self. Allow those plans to be informed by the sort of architectural Masonic symbols you have access to. When you add a new one to your toolkit, it's going to enhance your ability to plan. As you get successful at executing plans, you build confidence. As you build confidence, you build capacity. This is how we're going to move to a higher level of agency and turn you into a change agent that you're capable of being in the world to make the world a better place to be. I think that's the goal of all Freemasons, whether they ascribe to it specifically or not. See you next week.
The views represented in this podcast are those of the speaker alone and are not representative of any grand or subordinate lodge.
Hi, Brian here. I wanted to thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you have any suggestions or guidance for further episodes you'd like to see or hear, whatever the case may be, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at amasonswork.com, and we will try and incorporate your suggestions into a future recording. Thanks.
Freemasonry teaches us that the true work is within, a lifelong journey of reflection, discipline, and discovery. At A Mason's Work, we help Masons bring out their best selves through meaningful self-inquiry and symbolic practice. From personal reflection to lodge engagement, we offer tools that turn symbols into action. Visit us at amasonswork.com. The work is within. The time is now.